Hey, go blue, everybody. Ward Manuel actually does something. We get TJ's view on Tony Alford's hire and the latest from spring ball, all coming up next on Michigan Wolverines Live. And welcome back to another episode of Michigan Wolverines Live. Today is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. My name is John Diadamo, and I'm going to take you through the next hour or so. You can go ahead and follow me on Twix at John Diadamo. And definitely, if you haven't done that yet, what's stopping you? Go ahead and follow me. You occasionally get a semi-decent take on there, so definitely consider that. And of course, as always, we recommend everybody hit the like button, subscribe to Michigan Football, the voice of college football. And if you forget, it's going to be on the ticker the entire episode. Okay, so you're going to see it. Subscribe to Michigan Football, the voice of college football, and hit that bell so you get notified when we go live. We had a special episode a couple days ago and a special call-in show that we had a crap load of people in here for. But if you hit that bell, we don't just have the weekly show. Mark does videos. We have special episodes when breaking news happens. So go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell. And of course, share with a friend. And finally, if you have something that's really pressing and you want it top of the list, go ahead and send a super chat in. And with all that said, we're going to bring in our, at this point, regular TJ Kadarski's back from Roan Sports Talk. TJ, go blue and welcome back.
Hey, John, go blue, and it's good to be back.
Well, let's jump right in. We have a couple of take your medicine stories that we'll get to the positive and the feel good, but we did just have a pretty major, I know this is a football show, but we did have a pretty major piece of news on the basketball front with Juwan Howard being let go from Michigan. Ward Manuel actually makes a decision. What's your initial take?
Well, my initial take is, thank God, finally, because the writing was on the wall since January, maybe February, possibly sooner if you were looking at last season's performance. The program was trending down for quite a while. You could see it. But the concern was Ward going to give Juwan another year? But thankfully, he came to his senses and made the move that we all thought was obvious. And so you got to give him credit for that. I wonder, though, if he won maybe 3 more games, would he still be the coach next year? I don't know. But the good news is that we're moving on and we're looking for our next head coach. So, I mean, we'll give Ward a passing grade for now, but we'll see what he does with the hire.
Absolutely. I mean, and look, there's been a lot of different takes on this. From all angles to catastrophic failure. There was a whole controversy over Fab fail or whatever that headline was. The way I see it is this. I mean, thank you, Coach Howard, for the Big Ten title. Thank you for being an advocate for players and for being one of the best players we've ever had in Michigan history. But 8 wins is barely good enough for Michigan football season, let alone a Michigan basketball season. Yeah. So he I still think that he would have stayed if not for that Athletic article. I really do think that pushed it over where Ward just kind of had to do something when that came out about the culture. Like, what choice did he have, honestly, at that point?
I think, unfortunately, you're right. And that's saying something, because I agree. I think public pressure was mounting to a certain point. And I know the Regents had to have been feeling it, hearing it, especially because Jordan Acker is very public on Twitter. But if it was not for that article, I don't know if he gets fired the way he got fired, right? I mean, maybe there would be a delay and he would get fired. I don't know. But I do think that article pushed it over the edge. And thank goodness for the Athletic, because they saved us. I mean, another year of because I'm sure there could be some people watching who are, pro Juwan Howard getting another year. But in truth, if he got another year, what would change? Nothing would change, because unfortunately the roster needs a lot of additions that you're not going to get in 1 year. We already have issues getting people through transfer portal due to academic and admissions. Our NIL game in basketball is not even competitive. It's just not competitive.
Yeah.
So, especially because did you see the article that came out on On3 about college basketball NIL that just came out like 2 days ago?
I didn't see that, but I'm aware that most of our NIL is funneled into football, and so basketball doesn't really have a lot of opportunities.
So essentially, what the article said was the top, to be a competitive top program, you got to have $1 to $4 million in NIL yearly.
Yep.
Michigan's not doing that. So I mean, 1 year of Juwan, it wasn't going to change that. We got to hope the next coach gets the resources and that the resources to succeed. Because if he doesn't, we're going to find ourselves in the same position in 2-3 years.
And we do, of course, thank our it's not just Michigan fans who show up to this show. We got Notre Dame fans, Buckeyes, all kinds of people come by. And you're right, D-Rock. 8-24, not a good record. I think there's a lot of hope for bringing back Coach B, but I think that's mostly unless there's a special deal where he comes back for a year and then just kind of like gets the culture as best he can, get the ship right, and then mentor somebody to come in. He's 71 years old. That's who I would love to have back, honestly, for a year, though, if it were me. Get him back for a year, right the ship if he's willing to do it, and then bring in somebody maybe who's a little battle-tested and who's proven to be able to turn around programs or, build programs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you did a 1-year stopgap, the problem is you're just prolonging a true build, which wouldn't be good for us. I mean, we are at the bottom of the Big Ten. We are 8-24, as D-Rock showed, and we're last place, man. This is not acceptable. Okay, like we are a top 25 or a top 15 college basketball program, historically showing, and we should be making the tournament every year. That should be a standard at Michigan. So the reality is the next coach needs to come in, build his culture, and start competing for Big Ten championships again.
So I'm going to continue ringing this bell as long as this person is still in charge of our athletic department. I've said this for a year since I started hosting this show, that it is time. It's now past time for Warde Manuel to go. And my most recent data point is that this is the first actual, I believe, major coaching search he has undergone since 2017, or it may be forever. It's been a long time since he had to do like a real coaching search, because like Juwan, it was kind of, he kind of saw he wanted Juwan, and obviously the history there. Harbaugh wasn't his pick, so yeah, this is like he's had a history of kind of coasting. It feels like it seems like he's getting a pretty fat check for. I'm not really sure what the results are.
Yeah, so all right, it is time to go. Okay, that's the answer. Yeah. It's been time to go. It was time to go last year when he didn't necessarily handle the Harbaugh extension fully. And I know people will say, well, Harbaugh was set on going to the NFL, so it wouldn't have mattered. There is truth to that, but there's also truth that Warde didn't help the situation, and Harbaugh did clash with him. Okay, so that doesn't help anything.
Right.
Santaono had to be the bridge between that relationship, if anyone remembers, especially last December when NIL was happening with the discussions for NIL. So the issue with Warde Manuel is Michigan is succeeding in spite of Warde Manuel, not because of Warde Manuel. That's the problem. Right. And it's because the athletic department in the brand of Michigan is so strong and prestigious. It can. Now that's good for us, but it's also unfortunate that we have an athletic director who is reactive and not proactive, right? He's not progressive. He's not innovative. He'd be a good athletic director in the 90s, but it's
80s, 90s. Sure.
Right. It's 2024. This transactional, we're transformational, not transactional bull crap. I mean, it just isn't it. Okay. Like it's just not it. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's truth in building character in a human. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's value in that, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't be paid for your talents and your abilities and your skill sets like anyone else in America. So, it's been time to go. Unfortunately, he seems to have regent backing, so he's going to be around. But look, I mean, look at all of his hires from the baseball, from the Bakich situation where he let Bakich go to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people will also argue, because I've had these debates, he was going to go to Clemson anyways. That's not entirely true. He was looking for facility upgrades and matching salary. And if Ward would have been able to do that, he would have stayed. And I know that because I have a connection to the baseball program, who's actually my financial advisor. So I'll just throw it out there. So anyways, so the reality is we let Bakich go. Our baseball team now sucks. He screwed that up. Brandon Naruto of the hockey team last year, he waited the entire season to hire him in when he was an intern coach, and he killed it. Like, if it wasn't for Brandon Naruto making it to the championship game in the hockey tournament, he might not even have been hired or brought back. So, I mean, he's stumbled at every step and every challenge along the way. And I'm very pro moving on from Ward. Like, if you can't tell, like, he frustrates the hell out of me. You know, I wish
and
I wish we had an athletic director who was as motivated and innovative as Santa Ono is as a president.
Yep.
If we can just get someone to match with Santa Ono, that same passion, that same energy, this Michigan athletics could thrive in every single sport.
Yeah, and you're seeing NIL friendly athletic directors come to prominence. I mean, obviously Ohio State hired a very NIL friendly athletic director from Texas A&M. Who decided to give Jimbo Fisher $70+ million or something like that. But he is very NIL friendly. Even like Beth Getz at Iowa, some of the decision making has been spot on. Actually standing up to Kirk Ferentz and saying, hey, a change needs to happen here. Like, there's no offense. These just and she supports NIL and like the program that they're building at Iowa. And so there are ADs out there that are really good in this department and are more progressive. And I think it's time to look for some of those. And as you said, Santa Ono himself from all accounts, is a great president, was a great president in his last stops.
Right.
And, it may be that he was trying to give him an interim year or, an interim period, to get things right. But, eventually I think it's just going to be too much and he's going to have to go. But when? Who knows? Who knows?
It should be now.
So one more of these, and then we move to more positive discussion. But we did have, of course, an indefinite suspension from our brand new defensive line coach, Greg Scruggs. Sharon Moore mentioned in a press release, Greg made an unfortunate mistake and was arrested for operating a vehicle while intoxicated. He made no excuses and has taken accountability for his actions. The football program and athletic department have suspended Greg indefinitely while we review details of the incident, which, by the way, is legally what they should do. Like, they shouldn't just fire the guy because you have to cover your ass legally, for these types of things, and then kind of come to that judgment after looking at all the facts. But not exactly a great first impression for Coach Scruggs.
No, an unfortunate situation, because I was so excited for Greg Scruggs, and to see him make this mistake is just terrible because it's actually his third DUI, although it's his second on his record. The first one got expunged when he was in college. Yeah, so they did the right thing, right? You suspend him first, you review it, you investigate it, and then you make a decision. I'll be honest. I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping he's retained, but we'll see. I mean, because truthfully, I think he's a home run hire for a defensive line coach, right? So, I don't really know what other options there's going to be if we have to move on from Greg Scruggs, but it's just an unfortunate situation. I mean, what's your take? Do you think he should be brought back or move on? Or
I think if they look at everything and they determine that this was the last time, and they set up a situation where maybe he has a driver or an Uber discount or Lyft partnership. Because TJ, calling an Uber in Ann Arbor, they're pretty much a dime a dozen. Like, it is so easy to get an Uber in Ann Arbor. So like, I can't really buy, and he's young, so you can't even do the he's old excuse. And it wasn't like that back in the day, and you can't even do any of that because like he knows what Uber is, he knows what Lyft is. So I think I think it should definitely be strike two at least. If they do decide to let him go, I would respect that. But the one name I would look at, although it may be too late, is bringing back Sean Nua from USC.
No,
that would be the one. That would be the one that I could think of. I mean, unless there's somebody else you have top of mind, but I would prefer to keep Scruggs.
Yeah, so I don't have a name top of mind, but we cannot bring back Sean Nua. Sean Nua was a poor recruiter, and he wasn't the best developmental coach. I mean, he just wasn't. So I mean, Mike Elston really showed the difference between Sean Nua.
Yeah.
And what is a very good developmental coach. And I think Greg Scruggs fits the aggressive recruiter and technique developmental coach. And that's why I was so excited for the hire. I think he should be just under strict policy, maybe what's Juwan supposed to be under a zero tolerance policy. So that's what Greg Scruggs should be under. And
I agree.
We'll see though. Hopefully he comes back.
And Ferris is bringing up that Ann Arbor has autonomous vehicles. They're pretty innovative in some of the stuff that you can do over there. So, it is what it is, and hopefully, they're just Michigan PR just can't catch a freaking break. Like every off season and every like period when things are going great, then you have this. So hopefully, we could just from here on out. Positivity, spring ball.
We haven't had a normal month since. God, we've been under 2 investigations? We've had coaches going to the NFL. We got coaches getting DUIs. We got other coaches getting their houses raided. Matt Weiss. I mean,
oh geez,
crazy.
Oh boy. Well, there's really no good transition to do this, but when you're doing your shopping on Amazon. As many of us do, go ahead and click any link on Voice of College Football and consider doing that to support the network. So TJ, switching gears now to more positive discussion. I really enjoyed seeing Tony Alford in maize and blue. And maybe it was similar to how Ohio State people felt when they were able to get Madison and Washington to come over and join their team. But I really enjoyed. I thought this was a hire that showed Sharon Moore is here to play. Sharon Moore isn't here to win one title and then go to 8-4 seasons. He with this move, poaching a direct, like a coach that was under contract. You could say he was on his way out. People have said that 1-year deal on his way out, but they still poached him. He was still under contract. He was the current running backs coach for Ohio State, and now he's the running backs coach for Tony Alford. What's your take on this move that Sharon Moore just made?
Yeah, this is a grand slam. This is a tone setter. I mean, he let the entire Big Ten know that he's going after the whale hunters. Tony Alford's a heavy hitter. Like, he's one of the top recruiters in the game. And like, I saw some of the back and forth of, he's not that good at recruiting. Yeah, he is. Look at his all-time recruits. He's actually one of the best running back recruiters there is in the country. Then, I've heard the whole debate about, is he a good X and O's coach? How about developing fundamentally? And then they talk about the regression from when Ryan Day became head coach from when Urban Meyer was head coach. Well, there was also a change of philosophy, right? A major change of philosophy, way more pass heavy, way more exactly. And there's the list. I mean, imagine, and then also, going back to it, I mean, the difference between
How about this guy, TJ? A guy named J.K. Dobbins. He's he might have done something.
Yeah, I was actually very envious of J.K. Dobbins. I love J.K. Dobbins, but what Michigan has is they have in the trenches, right? Smash football. So that's why we got Jordan Marshall, by the way. It wasn't because Tony Alford can't recruit. It's because we run the damn ball better than anybody in the Big Ten. That's why
he retweeted when Jordan Marshall on his Twitter account retweeted when Tony Alford got hired at Michigan. Right. So he must have liked the news.
Another thing on that recruitment that was not mentioned in some of the video I watched of your show, Michigan was recruiting Jordan Marshall harder than Ohio State was, because Ohio State slow plays their own state because they're reaching national guys. And they know, and they have felt in the past that they can get any guy from Ohio. Well, that's starting to change. Michigan's been getting into Ohio the last 2 years. So that's why the Jordan Marshall relationship was built with Mike Hart, because the truth is Mike Hart is not an aggressive recruiter. Okay. He's a very lazy recruiter. There's people who I've gotten word that Mike Hart would have to be reminded to recruit, reminded to be more talkative with the text messages. And like, he didn't like to go visit kids at their schools. He didn't like to be very like text players and video chat them. So he just wasn't that into it. And you saw that. Now, thankfully, he did recruit some good players like Jordan Marshall and Cole Cabana. And we'll see with Ben Hall. But Tony Alford is a major upgrade. Like we definitely improved the coaching staff. We definitely sent Ohio State a message. And then like, think about all the dirt we got on Ohio State now. We know how they recruit. We know their NIL program. We know their schematics. We even know what Chip Kelly was planning. We know everything about their damn program.
Ding, ding, ding.
Screw Catapult and their bullshit. Let's film some practices and put some people in the Catapult company. Like, the reality is, we just stole one of your key guys, regardless if he was going to get extended or not. Because guess what? If you didn't want him, you would have moved on, and you didn't. You kept him. So now he's out.
What do you think of the idea that, Tony Alford was able to do what he was able to do at a system, and you could say, I mean, officially it's like 49% pass, 51 run if you look at the official, like look at the at it. But if you compare it to Michigan, it's significantly lower running opportunities in terms of your pass run percentage. I mean, we're talking like 50 spots lower. So like in terms of Ohio State's amount of times that people run the ball. So do you think that in a run heavy, let's face it, we're a run heavy offense. Yep. We have been since for a long time. So like, what do you think that's going to do to, when he's already a pretty darn good recruiter? He's proven to recruit 4- and 5-star players, and now he gets to go somewhere where his players can get featured much more heavily.
That's right. And because we have an offensive line that will pave the hole, right? We have an offensive line that Ohio State does not have. They don't produce offensive linemen like we produce offensive linemen. They also don't have the same philosophy offensively like we do. So Tony Alford's going to bring the talent in, and then our offensive line is going to allow those running backs to be showcased. That's what's going to happen. That is why you have a transition from Hassan Haskins to Blake Corum with a little bit of Donovan Edwards sprinkled in, right? That is why you'll see all of our running. If you've noticed the last, I don't know, since Sharon Moore's been around for the last, how long has he been coaching offensive line? What, three years?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Every running back to Chris Evans, right? And then we had Zach Charbonnet, who went to UCLA. Every running back since Sharon Moore has been the offensive line coach, and offensive lineman has been drafted. Every starting 5 offensive linemen of the starting 5 has been drafted, and every running back has been drafted. That will continue. You can't say that for Ohio State when it comes to their offensive line.
Yeah, and you've already heard a few, at least one 5-star running back who has said he's taking an official visit now to Michigan, and he wasn't before. So it's already starting, and he just got there like a couple days ago. So it's looking good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what players start to show more consideration to Michigan and what happens with visits.
Yeah, I think it's a great hire. And anybody who's saying it isn't, they're probably an Ohio State fan who's bitter, and they're still searching for a running backs coach replacement. Like, here's the thing: if he was on his way out, if they were really done with him, then wouldn't there be someone waiting in the wings as, like, I don't know, assistant running backs coach, or like, basically on call to take over if, because Ryan Day had to know when you don't renew this guy's contract, he's on a 1-year deal. That's terrible for recruiting. And also, like, he's open to look at offers in the open market, including 3-year deals for allegedly $2.5 million. So if they were really moving off of him,
Right.
wouldn't they have already found their replacement running backs coach?
Well, that was my point, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, if they really didn't want him, they would have got a new running backs coach. They did bring in Chip Kelly, who's an offensive coordinator. If Chip Kelly did not agree to keep Tony Alford around, he would have brought his own guy. Like, it's bullshit. Like, that's them trying to cope. That's just the reality. And the reason why, so I've heard, now I don't know if this is necessarily true or not.
Yeah.
The reason he wasn't necessarily extended is because he wanted more. He was asking for more from Ohio State in terms of responsibility. Okay. And he wasn't getting more in responsibility. So what Tony Alford did was he reached out to Sharon Moore a month ago. Sharon Moore did not reach out to Tony Alford. So that's what happened. Tony Alford reached out to Sharon Moore when he got the job. When Sharon Moore got the job, Tony Alford reached out to Sharon Moore. That is how the communication started. That's why the vetting process went so quick. And as soon as he was publicly hired, he was ready to coach. Unlike the other hires we had where it took 3 weeks to get them to start recruiting and all of that. That's why it went down like that.
That's interesting. Yeah. And maybe they started the background check and vetting process sooner because, everyone, like you said, everyone else, it took like 2 or 3 weeks for the background check to get done so they can make the official announcement. But they made the official announcement on him right away.
And he was ready to go. And he's coaching spring ball as we speak. He's in the video.
Yes. So before we get to that, 2 quick points. Go ahead and join either our Discord or YouTube membership on the main channel, starting at just $2.99. And then you can get part of our Discord chat, talk Wolverines all the time, et cetera, et cetera. You get to be part of our College Football After Dark panel, which is on Sunday nights with Exploring with Ben. And during the season, Mark has his betting guide with a bunch of media members. Where, if you like to do betting, which I didn't do any until the national championship game. I bet on that because I knew Michigan was hitting the over, and indeed they did. They definitely covered that spread. So I only bet when it's like obvious bets like that. But you can learn about that by being a Patreon or YouTube member. And also, of course, we do have a merch store. So our friend Joey Foster puts together a merch store with some really cool merchandise, and we've had even some of our people on the show in the past, or people call in and they wear the stuff. So you've got your Michigan pint glass if you want to cheers to the national championship win. Because, yes, it still feels just as good to say Michigan won the consensus national championship. That's right, Buckeye fans that are listening. Michigan won the consensus national championship. But anyway, you got your hoodies, you got your flags, you got your dog bowls. So you definitely got some nice Michigan merch. And then, of course, a bunch more on the main channel as well. So check that out and maybe get yourself or somebody that who's a Michigan fan or a fan of the channel. There you have it. And yes, Corey, there you go. National champion. That's right. Okay. So let's go to this. We have a Michigan football put out a video of spring ball and kind of what we're seeing. So as you can see here, everybody's pretty pumped. Everybody's pretty pumped to be back. But I want to point one specific thing out in a second here, TJ. And maybe I'm making – there it is. Look at that handoff. Look at that handoff. Alex Orgy to Donovan, and there's our new running back coach. Seemed pretty excited about that handoff and Donovan, getting to coach Donovan Edwards. So the reason I bring this up is because, and I ask you about it, is because I'm kind of wondering with the fact that you have Jaden Denegal, you have Jack Tuttle, you have Alex Orji, you have Jaden Davis, and I think I'm missing somebody. But you have a lot of quarterback situations going on, and I'm wondering if Campbell and Sharon Moore may continue using Alex Orji as they did in some of the big games last year, and maybe use him a little bit more in RPO packages with Tuttle or Denegal. Could they consider a 2-quarterback system, or do you think that they will pick one guy and go with him the whole time?
Yeah, so I think ideally they want one guy, but I'll say if, the competition is tight between spring and fall camp, you could see a competition for the first. Actually, I don't know. I just changed my mind thinking about that because we got Texas week 2. Yeah. So I think you will see one quarterback. If we were doing some like easy non-con games, maybe you would see 2 quarterbacks getting split reps to see who could win the position.
Or an audition like Cade and JJ, exactly. They each get a game.
And that could very well still happen. I would think by the Texas game, they want their guy because they know they're going to go into battle. So, because I fall in the old adage of if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right? So you got to have a guy. You got to have a guy that's going to run the offense, lead the team, understand the playbook like the back of his hand. And this way the guys in the huddle can get comfortable with the guy giving the plays. So I'd be surprised if they went 2 quarterbacks. But, that's the thing, too, is we don't know what Kirk Campbell is, right? We don't know if Kirk Campbell – because he had JJ. He inherited JJ. So we don't really know. This is new territory for all of us. So we're going to see how does he handle the quarterback situation. I'm still of the position, but spring ball can change my mind. Our quarterback of the future is in the portal. But if it's not, and for this discussion's sake, right, so we're going to go portal shopping is my theory or my belief. But for this discussion, because April portal hasn't opened, right now we have a quarterback battle. And I think, obviously we're going to be looking for things that leak from camp. We're going to see who's going to be leading, who's going to be QB1 or looking better than the other guy. Like there's already early reports now that Jaden Davis had the best spiral, the best ball, right? The best thrown ball. But he's not, again, he's a true freshman. I don't think he's going to be QB1, but we're starting to get things leaking now. It's what, day 2 of camp today. So, yeah. Or maybe they go every other day. I don't know. They have like a weird schedule because they can only do it for so many hours a week. But
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Spring camp has started. Things will start to leak. We'll see. But I'm going to, to round this back, I'm going to say we're probably going to go with a 1 quarterback system. And we'll see if the guys on the roster can take the torch.
You let us know in chat, everybody. Who do you want as quarterback 1? Or would you be open to a 2 quarterback system for a little while? It kind of worked in 2021 until it didn't versus Georgia. But it worked okay for a while. But I agree with you. You can't do it for long. And in this case, you might not be able to do it for more than the very first game. Maybe you have, I think it might go where they use the first game, you split it up, first half, somebody goes, second half, somebody goes, and then by the Texas game, they have their guy. Because you're right. I mean, I think with Texas and all the returning, Quinn Ewers returning and who's returning, I don't think you can mess around and do like you did previous years with the auditions and everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to get real quick. And
we have a vote for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady still has eligibility, so
hey, he's going to be too busy making like $300 million at Fox, so he might be unavailable. But we do have a vote. Looks like a vote for a multiple. So Orji and Denegal. We have a vote for a 2 maybe a 2 quarterback system with Jack Tuttle. I think Orji's going to win. And I will say this is probably my favorite one. 60% of snaps to Denegal, 60% of snaps to Orji, because Michigan is going to give 120%.
Yeah,
that's that's just math right there. Yeah, that's the Michigan difference. But I do think that we may have the quarterback of the future in Jaden Davis. And, I was a big Davis guy When he was announced officially, we did a live show on the main channel, call-in show, and I hosted it. And I'm not going to lie, the Big J journalism went off for a second, and I think Moose was on at the time, and we both had a little celebration over the news, which some of the Buckeyes in chat were not happy about. But are they ever? So I mean, great spiral, okay, but if you take it a step further, you have somebody waiting in the wings, Channing Goodwin, who obviously played with Jaden Davis at Providence Day, and I think that's going to be a factor next year. He probably won't play this year unless he just goes nuts. But Jaden Davis, I think he will get the opportunity to get a look. He's not going to get first team reps today, right? But will he have the opportunity to win the job just like everybody else? Sure. Like all of spring, all of fall, you've got a spring game. He'll play and he'll get his opportunity. So if he's just clearly better than everybody else, you might see him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think Jane Davis is, as it stands, the quarterback of the future. And I was very high on him as a recruit. Yeah. I think for what our offense is, he's built for it, right? So, he's a distributor of the ball. He can do the short to intermediate passes, very accurate, has great vision. Already, if you watch his high school tape, he's already checking down once. He's doing his progressions. And that's big for a high school quarterback. Every high school quarterback is not doing that. Like Aaron Nolan, for example, he's not doing that. That's Ohio State's quarterback for those who aren't familiar with him. But yeah, I mean, I think Jane Davis is a very talented player. I just find it hard to believe that Sharon Moore would take a true freshman in Sharon Moore's first season, and then your second test being at Texas. I don't see it. I can't see it. I'd love to be proved wrong, though. Maybe he's I don't know. Maybe he's one of one. I mean, it's not one of one, but you got to be. That's some elite shit. And but we'll see. I mean, I think he'll be fun to watch. I know. Here's the thing, though. If the quarterback isn't playing well, you're going to see everybody calling for Jaden Davis. We'll be ready for that in the fall, if that happens. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited to see how he does in the spring game. That competition is going to be a lot of fun. But and for the record, I am hoping David Orji wins the battle. But we'll see. His accuracy just concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, we just haven't seen enough recent film. You go back to high school, he threw pretty decent, I thought. His completion wasn't amazing, but he makes up for it with his legs. He's got the speed. He just doesn't have the accuracy. But if, like I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, if there's anybody who can get that accuracy up to the high 60s to 70s, it's Kirk Campbell.
Yep.
And so he's got a shot. Jay Marion thinks Orji. And Corey, even Devin Gardner said Orji was always competing with JJ on everything. And I believe he is putting in work to get better. And I'm going to add to that, he played in the biggest games. Like, he had reps in the biggest games we had.
Yep.
Like, that means something. It wasn't just against East Carolina. It was Ohio State. I'm pretty sure he played Ohio State, at least a series. Alabama and Washington. Like, that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no question playing in those pressure atmospheres, high stake games. I mean, that's definitely value. And, I agree with you. I think Kirk Campbell is the secret recipe. I mean, look at what he did to JJ in 1 year. Look at what JJ is being projected now, 4th overall, possibly 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. And Kirk Campbell can be credited for that. We saw the difference between Matt Weiss, quarterback position coach, what he did with JJ, and a Kirk Campbell quarterback coach. And I think I'm excited. I mean, I'm a little nervous. I think we all are because there's unknown. Yeah. And the unknown brings that. But, I mean, it's the only question. It's one of two questions I have for the roster. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting, though. It's a little unsettling, but it's going to be exciting.
And, of course, our friend of the program, Nick, is coming through with another jab at the Buckeyes. He likes to use his super chats to jab at the Buckeyes. Yeah. And guess what? If you're super chatting and you're also jabbing at the Buckeyes, know I'm going to read that. So, so John, you're speaking logically. OSU fans can't do that.
Yeah, OSU fans suffer from cognitive dissonance. They don't. You can spit all the logic to them you want. They just can't seem to grasp it. It's crazy. I don't understand it.
So, yeah, thank you, Nick, for that. We did have a few. I think on Wednesday night's emergency show. I thought Hummus and King were great callers, and we actually agreed on some stuff. And I feel like the people who call in, even the Buckeyes, they're usually pretty rational. The people in chat, not so much. So it's just that barrier of you can't see them.
There's a small percentage who they can do it. I mean, Mark obviously is like one of the golden gooses. Mark's one of the best at it. He's very very logical. But most of that fan base just can't seem to do it.
Yeah, he's a voice of college football for a reason, and he is literally like a walking encyclopedia of college football knowledge. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, him and Steve Dace, you can go forever.
That's how I found Mark originally. Was Steve Dace, the Michigan podcast. Okay. That's how I found Mark, and then I started chatting and calling into the show, and then over time, here we are. So that's what happens sometimes. Okay. But Moose is here with a super chat. Apologies, John, running late tonight. Look, bro, we just appreciate that you're here. We appreciate that you're always in the paint with us. How many hours have you and I, Moose, discussed? Moose and I were watching like 9 hours of NFL Combine film on that one Saturday, because it was I actually had a Saturday where I wasn't doing anything, and so we were literally just like breaking that down and looking for the Michigan players.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate that, Moose, and appreciate you being here all the time.
Yeah, I was wondering where he was at. I didn't see his comment yet.
Yeah, that's how much of a regular he is. It's like, where's Moose? So other than, I don't know if you've heard any nuggets from any other position groups. Obviously, Donovan Edwards did have a nice run there, and it's nice to see Tony Alford in the maize and blue. Of course, it's still early. I don't know if you've heard anything else from any non-quarterback positions or.
Yeah, no, nothing. I haven't heard anything specifically player-wise. Just that Justin Tress, the new strength and conditioning coach, is keeping things even keel. It's the same mentality. The output's the same, and from my understanding, there seems to be no change. Now, is that true? I don't know. I'm hearing that, but yeah, I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, I'm hoping to hear some more things leaking by the end of the week or next week, because the truth is, Jim Harbaugh, he set the tone where it's like Fort Knox at Schembecker Hall. A lot of things do not leak. They do not allow reporters in there. They do not allow open access to the program. So getting info is very, very tough to get sometimes, but I'm sure things will start to leak here and there.
Absolutely. I will say Kirk Campbell the other day did when asked about what identity you're going to have, he was talking about we know who we are. We're the University of Michigan. We know how to play football. We know how to win football games. That's not going to change at all.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else that needs to be said?
Oh yeah. And we're gonna smash you, bro. That's what we're gonna do. Offensively and defensively, we're gonna run you over.
And smash. Yes.
That's what it is.
Smash. Hulk smash.
Yep.
Absolutely. So thanks everybody here. Yeah, we got a lot more comments. Somebody's offering to have a drone I see, to look at I think we need to avoid any appearance of any type of covert activities for a while.
They added those windscreens last year. Do you remember that? Where they added those screens so you couldn't see it from the bridge. Because there's rumors or speculation that some teams that are red might have been filming practice from the bridge. So, yeah.
Well, Now you got it. We got your running backs coach, and we know everything you're going to run, and the NIL practices and recruiting practices. So we got him back. So Moose, so we did cover this earlier, but I think they're about the starting quarterback. It sounds like they might go portal shopping for at least a depth piece, if nothing else.
Well, I'll add this too. So in terms of the portal, so I do think we will go quarterback shopping. I obviously it's dependent though. How well do the guys respond in spring practice, right?
Yeah.
But other positions of note, wide receiver, I'm very confident they're going to look for a wide receiver above 6'2". I know that is a position that they're going to be going after. They tried going after it before with the guy from Indiana and I believe the kid from Vanderbilt. I think it was Vanderbilt. But they went elsewhere because the whole the Jim Harbaugh situation. They're looking for another corner. They're looking for an outside corner and a slot corner. And in this position surprised me, and this has been confirmed. They're actually looking for another linebacker, probably for depth purposes, not for starting. Yeah. But so those would be the positions I would look for in the portal in terms of the next portal session.
So. Yeah, I mean, as much as I'm really excited for some of the younger guys coming up, the Carmelo Englishes, of the world, the Frederick Moores, the O'Learys, those types, who's going to rise to the top. All we know is Samaj Morgan is probably going to be in there, and obviously Tyler Morris.
Yep.
As a returning starter. But there's still a wide open position, and will one of the current crop win it, or like you said, could it be a 6'2" and above wide receiver who just gets in there? So for that to avoid another way to avoid that 8-4 season, you get guys right away who know how to play the position really well and are already coached really, really well.
Yeah, I actually think we're going to be aggressive in the portal. I think Schroen's already shown that with his coaching hires. I mean, and we know he wants to be aggressive recruiting. Now, the fruit has not been shown yet. We haven't seen it actually become tangible. But I know that's the approach. We're going to find out soon, though. We're going to find out.
It's true. It's true. So just a quick reminder about a couple of other shows that we've got coming up here at the Voice of College Football. So Mark Rogers, Voice of College Football, does a Big Ten live show every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, where you can literally pick up the phone and dial Mark, and Tim Prangley usually co-hosts that. So check that out, and consider that. Obviously, we've got my show, the Ocho, every Monday night at 8, where we bring in the community panel, and usually we have a media guest. And then, of course, keep it here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. With all that said, let's see if there's any last comments here. That's all. Oh, what's the word with? Haven't really heard anything about Bell. Either way.
Well, I know he's not doing quarterback. He's doing wide receiver. So he was, when he was being recruited, he was kind of told he could compete for the quarterback position.
Yeah.
But he will be wide receiver. I know that.
Yeah, he says he embraced the switch and said he was blessed to follow his brother's footsteps, which those are some big footsteps.
Hey, we'll take it. I mean, if he could be anything like his brother, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely. Well, TJ, we're at that point, where we've covered everything, and we're gonna give you a chance to give everybody here a final thought about this week and in general, and then where can people find you?
All right. So, hey, spring ball's here. It's just getting going. We got visits already happening. We've had some kids already visiting, some promising first visits, I would say. We'll see if we can get any commitments within the month or the next month. But yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Ronan Sports Talk. I'm there just talking Michigan football and a little bit of Detroit sports. And if you want to give me a follow, that'd be great. But let's also get this channel to 7,000 subscribers, because that's the goal. Right now we're at 6,700, and I want to see us get to 7,000 by the end of spring ball.
Boom!
If not sooner, and beat Ohio State, because it's fuck Ohio State. every day, every day.
There it is. It's real simple. We have a graphic. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. It's really that simple, and then you can get notified about all of the content that we're putting out there, including, like I said, we had our special episode. If you had the bell hit, you knew about it. If you didn't have the bell hit, you might not have known about it, right? So hit that bell, hit that subscribe.
Yep. Let's get it. 7,000. Let's get that.
Absolutely. All right, TJ, thanks for joining us. Go Blue to you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Go Blue.
All right, everybody. Quick question about the Iowa show. We do still have the Iowa show every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with the great, as I call him, the great Corey Barada and Mark Rogers, voice of college football. So that's on the Iowa channel. So absolutely, you can discuss that or anything else. Beat Ohio State again. Absolutely. Hit that like button. That's right, Tom. And, everybody, that's right, Moose, Dependent Fanatic. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. 100%. Thank you all for being part of our community, for encouraging people to do that. And whether you hit the like button, whether you gave a super chat, whether you just chilled and watched while you were, I don't know, doing stuff around the house or whatever you were doing, walking the dog like I do, whatever you did to be part of this, thank you, and we appreciate you. Quick reminder that my name is John Diadamo, and I host this show every single week. And I also let's get my banner. There it is. So I host this show every single week, 8 p.m. Eastern, as well as Big Ten Live Ocho edition every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. We'll see you next time. And until then, go Blue.